Okay, also in Unit 2, we've talked about um, properties and matter, but we're also going to talk about how heat or energy affects your matter. So we have to talk about energy. There are three main forms of energy. We have radiant energy that comes from the sunlight, kinetic energy, which is energy of motion, or energy carried in objects that are moving. And we have potential energy, which is stored energy or energy that objects have because of their position they are currently in. From there, we can break it down into the familiar types of energy, the more specific types like chemical energy, solar energy, mechanical energy, and so on. So, the definition of energy is the ability to do work. So, if we're going to calculate work that is being completed, we would take force times distance. So, there must be a force that's applied and some sort of distance that it is achieved. So, if I push on a wall, I'm applying force to the wall and then it falls over, it's moved some distance. If I have a car that's stuck in the mud or the snow, I push on the bumper. I applying a force and it's going to move some sort of distance. Whenever we digest our energy from our food, again, we're applying some sort of force so we can achieve some sort of distance. And remember that all types of energy have the ability to do work. Now, how are we going to measure that energy? Well, the metric measurement of energy is going to be the joule, and we abbreviate the metric or the SI unit of energy with a capitalized J. A way that we can measure our heat energy is using a thermometer, either a mercury or an alcohol thermometer. So with mercury, as you apply heat, it expands and rises. As it cools, it contracts and it falls. So the non SI or the English unit for measuring heat is the calorie. Notice it's capitalized CAL. There are two different types of calories. I call this the big calorie or the food calorie. This is the calorie that's on your nutrition label. It measures heat. So, the quantity of heat that's required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius. And we'll talk more about this. The joule, like I mentioned, is the SI or the metric unit of measuring energy or heat. And one small calorie is equal to 4.184 joules. We'll talk more about those big and small calories in our next video. Energy. So, the law of conservation of energy states that energy forms um, cannot be created or destroyed. It just is going to change forms or change into different types of energy. Basically, you cannot create or destroy energy. So, when you are working out and you're burning food calories, um, that energy is being changed into the form of heat and it's being released from your body. You're not destroying anything. Okay, so it just changes from one form to another form. Now, energy that causes a measurable change in mass does have an exception to this law of conservation of energy, and it also goes against the law of conservation of mass, in which the law of conservation of mass or matter, excuse me, states that mass or matter cannot be destroyed or created. It's just going to change into different phases of matter. However, nuclear energy is the exception to both of these laws. With nuclear energy, energy is created by destroying some mass within the nucleus of an atom.